Good noon, Jahanara.
Hi,
Hi, how are you?
nice to see you, even if
Yes,
it's mask covered.
yes, yes. Shagun, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Shagun, shall we start? I think most of the students have joined.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, you want to start?
Yes, sir. Shagun will just start with the introduction.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Myself, Shagun Kothari, student. Hello, good morning, everyone. Myself, Shagun Kothari, student coordinator from Bhagwan Mahavir University, Department of Architecture and Interior Designing. On behalf of the Faculty of Interior Designing, I welcome you all for joining us today for our second webinar of the expert lecture series going on every week. So, for this week, we are delighted to have the expert designer architect Jehanara Poonawala ma'am from Mumbai to speak about interior styling. I'm honored to welcome our expert guest, Principal Ma'am Architecture Chetali Shroff, all the other faculties and the students. Now, I would like to request Professor Nisarg sir, Faculty of Architecture, to give a brief introduction about our expert guest, Architect Jehanara ma'am. I'll forward so Nisarg sir, please continue.
Thank you, Shagun. Good morning, all of you. Good morning, ma'am. Jahanara Poonawala ma'am is a graduate from the prestigious Sir J. J. College of Architecture from the year 1998. She is being in the practice since 23 years. She is the principal architect of the firm named J. J. Poonawala and is leading the firm with a positive vision as an innovative conceptualist since 20 years. Ma'am and her team have successfully executed n number of projects over the country and also are doing projects in Dubai, Italy, London, Zambia, and Tanzania. Ma'am is also the academic coordinator of IES Center for Interior, Environment and Space Design at the Institute of Skill Development in Dadar, Mumbai. Under ma'am's cap, the team of J. J. Poonawala has executed several residential design projects, hospitality projects, commercial projects, healthcare design projects, along with several architectural projects. Ma'am and the team have collaborated and associated with various renowned international firms as well. We feel very pleased and happy to have ma'am with us and happy to hear from her and throw some light on various topics associated with the field and importantly on interior designing and styling. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Nisar. That was wonderful to hear. Such a lovely speech. I'm thrilled. I feel that I'm really better than what it sounds. But thank you very much for that. Thank you for having me here, Chaitali. Thank you for having me and Shagun. So I'm very honored to be here and talk to your entire student body. I think there are quite a few of us here. This is just to give you an idea of what we talk about as in personal style or interior styles, not just generally what you would think about as interior styling in the sense of that, you know, you would take a styling karo, so you take a sofa and you take a console table, or you take, you know, how to style up your bed or your runners. So this is a little bit of a brief to give you that there is far more to interior styling. So there's styles to look at and how to represent your own personal brand, your own personal style, as well as to reflect your client's style. So that could be completely out of the box. And you as an architect, as an interior designer, have to understand and have to inculcate their personal preferences and their personal style, which could be completely something that has never been heard about and not boxed within, you know, saying being art deco or being contemporary or something. But that's how you will read that off. And this is just a little teaser, I should say, to just to give you guys an idea of what can happen and what you should reflect off from personal styles. So I'm going to take over the screen. Please tell me if I'm not perfect on this platform. So do correct me if you're seeing things or not. So what is visible? Can somebody just guide me, Anisar? Go to Shagun.
Yes, ma'am. We can see your screen, the tiled presentation.
Yeah. You can
Yes. Maybe you can start with the presentation, ma'am.
So can you see the front screen, the style, decoration, and architecture? What it says? Is that your screen? Are you reading that off or?
No, ma'am. Actually, we are seeing the tiled presentation. The slides in the tiled format.
So 1 minute. Let me retry that. Yeah. Sorry. Still, can somebody just help me out here? Are you seeing the screen now? The first style, the first slide, or is it still the whole thing?
Ma'am, it's still the whole thing, the whole time format.
Ma'am, maybe you can press F5.
Sorry, guys, about this. Just give me a minute. Because I'm on a...
Yes, ma'am. Now it is visible.
Perfect. Thank you. Super. So let's just jump it directly in. So like I was mentioning, that what we're going to do is about style, decoration, and architecture. There's popular design styles, but how we can use them and how we can reflect that. So welcome to this. And the purpose of our whole thing is to equip you with the skills and knowledge to identify and to work with different types of styles that, kind of impact your interior decorating and your design. So by the end of this hour, I hope you will be able to have some kind of understanding on what style is, to be able to identify your own style and identify and work with a client style if necessary, and identifiable and work with different architectural styles also. So it's like I kind of say that style is an intangible quality. You're not going to be able to easily define it, right? So we often say that someone has style, but you find it difficulty to put yourself, and she's looking stylish, she's dressed well, but what is it about that person that attracts you? So it is something that you can't just buy off a shelf. It's not a vendor product. It's a reflection of the personality and the lifestyle. So it's enhanced by the confidence, so how you're going to present yourselves, how your fashion is, your clothes, your photographs, the way that you're going to present the entire package, and having a strong sense of style. It's your personal style, the architecture, the space, what makes you comfortable, what gives you pleasure. Regardless of the criticism, your style should portray what it is. My personal style is like a vintage style, but that's the key. Start with your own personal style. Look down, all of you look down today at what you're wearing, whether you're house, whether you're out, wherever you are, and try and understand that whether your personal style is reflective of your design. So we are going to try and analyze it a bit and the impact that it has on interior. So whether your personal style, whether you're dressed in very chic clothes or you're dressed in vintage clothes like me. So what are your personal styles and how it's going to reflect onto your things. So don't think of style in isolation. She's got great style when observing somebody's wearing that, or a building is a certain type of architectural style. Interesting thing about all types of style is that they're actually linked to each other and they influence each other. So think carefully, specifically around interiors, what we are going to kind of focus on. And first, let's look at some personal interior and architectural personal styles. Let's start with that. So let's kind of connect your personal style in interiors and then put it into your how it's going to reflect. So it could be your home, it could be an office occupant, it could be a shopping center. For example, the architecture of the space and the pre-existing furniture that you're seeing, your art, your objects, your furniture, and the three elements that's going to influence that space. So there is a very famous lady. If somebody of you are into, reading about fashion and clothes and all, you know about this lady. She's quite well-established person, a Diane von Furstenberg. And she said, she's a world-renowned fashion designer. And she said, style is something each of us already has. Or what we need to do is just find it from within. Look inside you and find it. So whether you're constantly rocking the latest trends and you're with it, literally, or you have a tried and true uniform, you're a jeans person that you wear every day and you're just a casual t-shirt and jeans person, what you choose to wear is more than just an outfit. It's your non-verbal way of showing the world who you are, your personal thing, how you're going to show them what you stand for. But the same will apply to your clients if you're dealing with them. So the same thing, look at them, look and try and understand their style, what you're going to reflect to the client and what the client's going to reflect back to you. So of course, the spaces we live in, we work in and play in are no different. So the world doesn't have a front row seat to your, your perfectly curated bookshelf that you've done in your house, or that beautiful new accent chair that you chose specifically, but your home is your happy place. And as your personal sanctuary, your space is a reflection of you within your social, your economic, and your cultural parameters that we all experience. So there's actually quite a lot of research to support this theory. And among that, a lady called Megan Jeanette did this, went out to investigate the link between preferences for fashion and for interiors, and determining the connection between what you're wearing and what your client is wearing, your preferred sense of apparel and interior design, and the link between them for your target market. So there is a purpose to this, and what we choose to wear and how we express ourselves on our body was found to be very, very significant. Articles of clothing you can change on a daily basis, but you can't change your interior products, right? You're not going to be able to say that today I'm feeling blue, so I'm going to do something. I can wear the clothes, but I can't reflect that. So they can't change frequently. But the research that shows that consumption in interiors is really a problem-solving process. Evaluate your goods based on your objectives, your tangible benefits. And in other words, we don't choose purely based on function. Instead, consumers use their own subjectives and aesthetic response to select goods. So in other words, summing it all up, and rather than being big, too much on all of that, is what we are all driven by the same needs and desires. So we all want dressing correctly. We all want to accessorize correctly, but fashion is what you buy, but style is what you do with it. And the same thing happens for all products. So example, now let's take something like look down and, if you're all the girls on this webinar, look down and look at your nails and think back, look at this. Okay, let's start with something. So like just your basic nails. So women accessorize us, we accessorize ourselves many ways. And one of our ways of expressing is in nails. So if you have a look at the set of nails at the bottom left-hand corner, it's a very natural look. It's been manicured. But there's no form of shine. I hope the boys are getting a little interested in this also. But there's no, look at the pictures there. There's no form of decoration, no form of color. But then you've got your traditional French manicure in the top left. And then on the right side, you'll see that this person has a bit of manicure. It's a little bit of subtle, but it's got a little bit of sparkle to it. So this person in the bottom left is more likely to choose more natural products like wood-looking type of natural products. They are more likely to choose things like a natural linen or a cotton. But the person with the shiny nails is more likely to choose accessories with a little bit of glamour or flash to them. So here are some more nails. Have a look at the one on the left-hand side. What they've done to their nails is now telling you that they've got a little bit of a quirky nature. They're open to something a bit more fun, more exciting, and they're also linked in trying to express nature through themselves in two ways. One, they've chosen green, very popular color, but they've also chosen to express nature, and they've chosen an animal print, very funky, very in. So this person is likely to choose a more natural type of product with a little bit of fun element to them. They're not afraid of expressing themselves. They're very bold and out there with themselves. So that's going to happen in the interiors also. So, but the person in the middle is telling you something very different. They're telling you very obviously that, hello, I like color, and they like very bright colors. Look at the shading they've done. They're still creative, but they like the color. And the right-hand side person is telling you, fashion is really important. They're telling you the man, very long nails, fashion's more the thing that's going to dictate. They will definitely want to go with the most in products that are going around, trends. They will probably change their home designs quickly, call you more often to do that. So if you've ever had nails of that length, you'll know it's not even possible to put anything on your mobile phone. It's so impractical, but they want to be very cool. So there's something that looks and perceived is far more important to them than the way it functions. So a lot of things can be said from, say, a simple thing like nails. We can go into hair, we can go into any part of the whole thing, but that's a very long discussion. We don't want to go into psychology of all of those sorts at this point. Just let's move on to fabrics. Example of linen, very natural product, very comfortable to wear. It transfers and retains heat perfectly, very easy to look after. But what happens when you wear linen is it creates a very specific look. So if you look at the gentleman on the left-hand side and the lady on the right-hand side, the style of the shirt, while structured, they have some sort of shaping to them. They've got a little bit of more of an earthy look, a relaxed look. Now think what they are going to choose in their interiors, what they're going to choose. They like a little bit more earthy, relaxed look. That's going to translate into this. The one who chooses more linen is more natural fiber oriented. And that's why they're willing to put, if a natural fiber on the body, they're going to prefer natural fibers on the rest of the elements that they are going to touch. But look at something like silk, satin, very different, much more glamorous. And someone who chooses to wear this, shinier products that are going to happen. Sudden, like a glass top coffee table, a little bit more of a sudden finish on a throw pillow or a cushion. Because they're choosing to put something like this on a general basis on their body, this is going to happen to them. And same thing for patterns. So here's two gentlemen. We can all agree they're both wearing a striped shirt, but have a look at the type of shirts that they wear. So the gentleman on the left, fabric's different, bit more of a cotton, linen, tells me more of a natural nature, is more relaxed. And secondly, have a look at the stripes. The stripes are in different ways, different colors. So you can really read off the person, of the clothes that they're wearing, and you need to translate that. Read your client, read yourself, and now realize that what you're wearing, what you are translating as an image to anybody out there. And when you all leave college, make sure that your branding, your identity is so clear that what you want to translate via your visiting cards, via your website, via your own personality, your own persona. This is how you translate and know that people are going to read out. Whether they do it subconsciously, they may not get into the psychology, but you will need to be very clear about who you are and where your designs are going to translate. So women's shirts with some prints on them, fun shirt, you know that this lady probably likes little flamingos, color, something different. And look at the one who's translating. So you know about this person and you can really tell who this is. So that person is going to be fun, relaxed, open to something quirky, and maybe some patterns also on that. So what about shoes? Say, for example, now look at these. These are men's shoes. So if the boys are now into it, let's look at some men's shoes to do this. These are Crocs. They're plastic, commonly available, right? Everywhere. You can wear in most relaxed environments. And people that wear Crocs don't consider themselves to be very style conscious. They are very much more about function, more about functionality, functions and form, the way that something works than how it looks. So they don't really care whether their shoes match the outfit or whether it's the latest trend. So this person, if I'm selecting, say, a tile for them, I'll choose something very utilitarian, very practical, something that does its job. I'm not going to choose marble for a floor, or maybe because you can tell by what they're wearing, but you can understand and express them that this doesn't even appeal to them or even factor into their realm of consideration. Then have a look at the guy on the right-hand side with the leather type of slippers. This person, what do you think? He definitely prefers the outdoors. He's telling himself, I prefer natural and down to earth. And how do I tell that? Because the majority of that shoe is made out of leather. So I'm going to tell you that this person probably has some sort of maybe a beard or a mustache or something. They're going to be a little bit more trendy. And they most likely, the natural elements around what they're going to wear, that's also going to translate into other couple of things. So here's a great example. I'm going to show you this interior, see who this interior belongs to. And now you will see the link between the personality, the person, and the interior space. So this is actually, I'm sure you can judge that this person whose space, you're looking at this person. Now try to look at this space and understand this person, who is it? It's actually an artist, but look at how she's decorated her interior space. So here in the wallpaper, you'll see a lot of different colors, a lot of different patterns going on there. She's repeated the colors here in the paint technique, on the more traditional piece of furniture, and then have a look at the art, at the glass, on the furniture. The glass has been changed to have color in it. The items inside the cabinet have got a lot of color in them. There's a pattern here on the cabinet, and then got a lot of color here again. So what do you think? How do you think this person dresses and expresses themselves? How do you think that? So now look at this. Let me introduce you to this person and show you another space in their home. So here's the artist. So let's start with what she's wearing and have a look. She's expressed the way she dresses and likes to express herself through her clothing into every surface in her apartment. She's got yellow shoes, pink pants, blue lavender shirt, very long, detailed tassel earrings, pink, red, I think there are. She's got pattern on almost every surface around her. And there's that wallpaper again. All of her art has a lot of pattern in it. The rug even has pattern. I mean, nothing really matches, but it all kind of comes well together and reflects her style. So can you see the link between what she's wearing and how she's expressed herself in her interior space? So what are you looking for when you're dealing with clients, or when you are having a look at friends, or even assessing your own style or your overall style? So as we did in these last couple of slides, how things are combined, what proportion things are used in. So if you have just a little bracelet on, but that's black, and the rest of what you're wearing is like white, but you don't mind accessorizing with something black, think about it. So are you straight versus flowing, you're curvy versus soft? You're going to look at the fabrics that people like to put on their body, the fabrics that they like to see and touch in their interior space. So you're going to look at color and the way that your client expresses the color, or the proportion of the color. If I'm dressed entirely in black top to toe, then I'm telling you that I like black enough to wear it over 100% of my body, then that's what I'm going to like. So give a little bit of thought to something which is there, and be observant in these cases that you're looking at. Look at the accessories and the jewelry, what they're made of, what they're paired with, are the diamonds extra large, what colors they have. Then you're going to look at the textures, brands, etc. and read off it, and read your potential client. When you want to put in a budget, when you want to put in something, read off all these telltale signs. And just a last note, interestingly, the study that we were mentioning another earlier also, it can be seen that, you're seeing this interaction between fashion and interior styles. But those who prefer like individualistic or bohemian clothing, say, suppose that they prefer natural styles. And you heard me refer that people who like, exotic, or like the satin finishes, they prefer more dramatic spaces. So they're all different, like more, if you have more sexy clothing, you could prefer modern or eclectic interiors. Overall, nature and eclectic are these most widely preferred styles, and we'll cover some of them while we talk about it further. So we're going to do interior and architectural styles now. Any questions? I'm happy to take any field, anything about personal thoughts. If you want to open up to any chat, or should we do that later, Chaitali? What do you feel?
Students, anyone wants to ask question right now?
Or everybody's just
Or
we continue.
Shagun? Or we will continue. We can have it afterwards.
Ma'am, I want to ask a question.
Please.
Yes.
Ma'am, what if the personality is confusing? What if the person has different tastes in clothes, has different types of nails, and has a different sense of speaking? What do we do then?
So understand the proportion. So which is more? So somewhere along they will give you a hint. So everything cannot be that they want to look like somebody that they've copied. So either their nails are telling the true story, or the clothes are telling the true story, or one part of it is going to be more of a proportion than the other. So which is leading? So like I was saying, if you're wearing complete black, very true, you understand immediately. But what happens if I'm just wearing something simple black on my hand and I'm not wearing the rest or whatever? So read the proportion of how much it is and the whole thing, and see how much it kind of tallies. 2 or 3 things will pick up, and then finally you will get a story onto that.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Most welcome. So let's go on to our next part of it, which is interior and architectural styles. So we'll talk about different ones, and if we have time, we'll go into lots. Let's see how we can start off with that. So the most popular, and you kind of hear all this thrown across to a lot of people, Art Deco, Art Deco, Art Deco. But what is Art Deco and how it's going to reflect onto that? So, the different styles overlap each other. You have to kind of know that. So it's never going to be that when we talk about saying Art Deco, you talk about contemporary styles, or you will talk about being bohemian. It's never that you are going to get an entire house or an entire room. You will not design it, nor will you ever see one which is completely one chapa on it, one thumb on it. Okay, this is only Art Deco. Different styles overlap each other. And you will be able to read off, again, like how in personal styles, that you will be able to read off which one is stronger than the other. And that's how you will translate it into the interior spaces. Same way, don't try to make it a copycat or a typical space that says only this. Blend it. Blend your styles, and that's what will make your interior spaces more exciting, more interesting to deal with. By knowing your knowledge of the styles, very important to know that you can't just throw in things and then say, what is the hell is this? But understanding what it is, realizing where they've come from, identifying them, and then blending them to get you a little bit of a space which is thematic, but still interesting. So different styles overlap each other. Now I'd like to draw your attention to the 2 houses on the screen in front of you. You'll see they're quite different, but they are both classified as Art Deco. And the reason there is some other styles have been introduced, but the key to understanding architectural and interior style is to know the characteristics of each style, so you can decide which one is most dominant. Strong, dominant, stands out in your face, and pick it up. So Art Deco came about originally it came about in the 1920s, and it became a major style in Western Europe and the United States during the 1930s. If you remember the movie, and maybe you guys are too young, and but The Great Gatsby. So that Art Deco represented modernism turned into fashion. Bold, flashy style, but stays fundamentally, it's very elegant. I really like the style. Great to do it, great to show lots of geometric lines and patterns. And these geometric lines and patterns are in fact a big indicator of Art Deco style. And it was the time, it was the era where aluminum, stainless steel, and plastics, for example, like Perspex, Perspex, Google that word and see what Perspex is, like acrylic, but get that going. And Perspex and inlaid wood patterns were developed. Inlaid woods, you might have heard the word marquetry, parquetry. These inlaid wood patterns were developed, refined, and used. Colors are dark, rich, because it's luxury, it's luxe, it's glam. So you'll get black and white used to create contrast, and very often any shaped surface that can be shiny will be shiny. For example, walls, floors, tabletops, wherever you can do shiny, 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 shine comes into that. So what you see now in front of you is a mood board for Art Deco interior styling. Now, if we go back to this characteristics of Art Deco list, you'll see that the same things will appear here. So, for example, we spoke about geometric lines and patterns being very dominant in your, like vision, see it, but you'll see it on almost everything here. You'll see a lot of stainless steel, plastics, aluminium, your inlaid wood patterns. You can see all of that, and you will see black and white for contrast and effect. A lot of the devices are shiny, including that coffee table. Can you see? Style is very bold, flashy, but still elegant, lovely. And one of the things to understand about, again, I keep mentioning that all interior styles sit on a spectrum. So you can go, like if you say Art Deco is on the top like this, then you can go this way also, you can go tilt also. Spectrum, like a little thing. So you go this way or this way, overlapping on this. But this is a type of an Art Deco style. Now, look at this. Very different to the previous slide, but still considered Art Deco. Dark colors happening now, popping out for luxury's sake, for your this. Have a look at the dark with their shiny surfaces, the table. You can see the black and the green and the geometric lines, patterns, but still quite bold, flashy, and elegant. Very interesting still. And then we have a look at a real life example in this foyer. Very pretty, really interesting to see. Look at the shiny surfaces. Checkerboard is a big indication of Art Deco. So the black and white, this checkerboard contrasting pattern, and then you see the shiny surface on the table. You'll also note that one big key characteristics, and you want to do an Art Deco room, definitely introduce these large format plants. And these banana plants and all of that have replaced your palms and typical palms, a lot of this. So you get these and this. And you can see, and they've got one on large, very large. Instead of putting a sculpture here, they put these plants into that. So with that, let's go on to our next one. Victorian. So anything about Art Deco? We'll take questions later if there's any question. So Victorian architecture and interiors. And these type of architectural styles appear in countries across the globe. You'll see them like this is like a little bit more of a traditional style. And yes, it did come about and did start in the Queen Victorian time. So that's how it's come historically. But it's very, very common, and you'll see that, whether you see that when you're going for a holiday across Australia, you go to England, anywhere you'll see these kind of styles. So let's have a look at the key characteristics of Victorian style. So very often you'll have a gray or a cream background, and the woods will be very dark, rich again, walnut, mahogany, or even like a black wood used in these type of interiors will be warm. They won't be shiny, which is this, but the colors are plum, dark yellows, golds, burgundy, dark reds, luxurious fabrics. Even if you have like a rusty brown, red, the fabrics are very luxe, all kinds of very rich looking, and sometimes have a lot of patterns. These patterns are complicated, detailed, and they cover most, whatever you can get, they will cover. Every surface, wallpaper, hoya, like fabrics, whatever, they're covering everything on that. And one of the key identifiers to Victorian style is lines that are curved. Very romantic lines, coolly romantic, feminine lines. And you do get that typical black and white, also similar to Art Deco. You'll see these black and white tiles, but they are little differently used than the Art Deco way of using the black and white styles. So again, remember, style sits on a spectrum. So Victorian interiors are a great way to see how this spectrum plays out for you. So on the screen now you'll see that there's some very traditional type of spaces, particularly the one on the left. It's much older, much more mature, very traditional, and you'll see some more contemporary space on the right hand side. So it's contemporary type, fun, more friendly, younger colors. But if you go back to the main characteristics, a lot of the colors that are key characteristics of Victorian style are appearing. You'll see your burgundy color, you'll see your purple, your yellow, your gold, all of these in a lot of pattern. Every surface has pattern. Look at it carefully, you'll see pattern, 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 pattern. But now let's look at this. Look at this. This is Victorian also. And now I'm going to tell you that this is also Victorian. So am I talking nonsense? So again, see how the spectrum of style changes. They considered, look, there are hints of the Victorian in this picture. This is not completely Victorian, but it's still reading off to you that the dominant features in this room are Victorian. You will see that old big mirror with the vintage antique mirror, the mirror which is little stained, and that the carving on that. Look at the arches, look at the graceful lines on the fireplace, curves, and the chair also. These are not so contemporary or modern. They're little, this whole version of it is a little more modernized version of Victorian because they blended things at the table, but they brought in. So a lot of more dominant features are the Victorian features on this. And then one thing, this kind of interiors are the worst ones to, I mean, even this, but you need to analyze this. Something that's personally shows that the person has really not thought about the space at all, just dumped things. It's the total end of the spectrum, feels burgundies, patterns, very traditional, very deep, sometimes could be very depressing also, this kind of work on that. So we've done Art Deco, we've done a thought to Victorian. Let's jump into being more with it. Let's do Scandinavian. Scandinavian, I'm sure a lot of you after so many years of being in architectural college know that this is your clean cards, simple lines. Interior styling is also very popular because it's soft, right? This is what generally people like to do. It's clean, it's very functional. Often the interiors are painted white to help keep the spaces bright. And if colors do appear, they're often soft and calm, a light gray, a light yellow. What's in these spaces are like, the woods are like blonde woods, what we call. So in contrast to the dark woods of the Victorian times, much lighter, ash, beech, pine. The lines in these spaces are simple, straight, and very little pattern appears, a lot of natural light. And indoor plants are popular. And one of the key characteristics to Scandinavian style is to create coziness with all of that light. Whiteness is always there to add texture, but create that with all these spaces. I love the Scandinavian styles. If you want a simple, clean space to do that, look at this smooth board. A lot of white appearing and something that you generally can't go wrong with. Most people will like it. And now that IKEA has now flooded our market and all of that, you'll know that these are the thoughts that go in from there. And if there is some color, it's gray. And here again, in our top left-hand side corner, blonde woods, white walls, white furniture, and the leather chair is almost like a little wood, like a little bit of a contrast, blocking of color kind of thing in that. And you'll see these blonde woods again in the furniture, in the flooring, white furniture also, little bit of a texture added on the couch with the throw. Look how styling has been placed. Now this you can, if we think about doing styling on sofas or chairs, then you throw a right angle of putting the throw and the right angle of putting a cushion. These simple clean straight lines on the coffee table. And this is just to deviate from something here. It's nothing to do with this, but this is something I tell students all the time, that cushion, look at the cushion in this picture. Do not ever put a cushion as a diamond. That's a big no-no. So hotels, spaces, everywhere you'll see that your typical cushion is put like a diamond. Never do that. That's a sign to show that you do not know interior styling. You do not know anything about that. Put your cushion square or rectangle. If you get a chance to chop it, like how this has been chopped, like in the middle. that's the sign to show that you really styled your space and you know about it. You'll never find in any architectural digest or any space will you find cushions that are placed at diamonds. That's the big no. Sorry, I'm very passionate about the cushions in this. So, and as with all other styles, coming back to Scandinavian, style will sit on a spectrum. So look at this interior picture. It's a little bit more detailed than the previous two styles, but it's also considered Scandinavian. The white has been tinted to a gray now, and there's quite a lot of black being used as a contrast. You'll see that white appears quite dominantly. We've got a much lighter blonde floor. There's quite a lot of texture going on, particularly in the rug on the floor. So let's do modern. Now, I get a lot of questions about being modern and contemporary, and people kind of blend this out and say what is modern and what is contemporary, and they tend to use these words very loosely and overlap onto that. So we'll try to get the difference, but it's a little more complicated than just doing a 2-3 slide kind of presentation. But let's hope that some parts of it can be explained. It's very focused on function, very clean, basic lines, very sleek. See both the houses, they're considered modern. And broad, clean terms, it's a very broad term. So clean, crisp lines, simple color palette, very much a sense of simplicity in every element in these spaces, including the furniture, sleek look, very little clutter, accessories and industrial materials like chrome, glass, concrete are often used, and the style, do not confuse it with industrial again. It's sleek, spacious, simple, focuses on function, but not necessarily always on design. And very basic lines. Don't use too many, don't use too many curves and angles, simple edges. So in modern spaces, too many different colors don't work. If colors are used, they are usually monochromatic, which means there's just one of them. The difference between being achromatic and monochromatic, this means monochromatic, which means there's just one of them. And they've used as an accent sometimes, these accent colors, if they've used a color, it's to create a focal point. Some great examples of modern styled interiors, very crisp, very clean, very simple, neutral color palette. There's not a lot of accessories or clutter that goes on in these spaces. And you'll see a lot of the use of chrome. So the glass, the concrete, have a look at the light fittings above the table. They're polished, smooth, and glossy surfaces on that. Again, not a lot of color that's coming through. Actually seeing a lot more texture to create differentiation. You can see it in both the slides. Again, modern lines create, simple, neutral. Sorry. And let's have a look at contemporary. Really interesting one, because most people assume that contemporary and modern, like I said, are exactly the same thing. And whilst they're very two distinctly different styles, they do have certain elements that are used interchangeably quite easily. So and you'll see when I go through the characteristic list what I mean, like quite a lot of it is a repeat from the modern style. That's why I said it's a little difficult to kind of do this. So let's say that modern is strictly a strict version of saying the design that started more recently in the 20th century. And contemporary tends to be more fluid and it's like almost like going from one, it goes up and down, and not one particular style. For example, contemporary may have some curved lines from a Victorian era, but a modern design definitely won't have that. So contemporary is defined as a range of styles which are popular now over the last 50 years. So earlier what you were seeing was, say, a modern sense of style. The mid-century modern styles, or you see the Art Deco styles, these were all considered somewhere borderline as being modern kind of things, somewhere borderline. Again, like I keep saying that everything is on a spectrum, so you have to tend to jump from year to year, but cleaner lines, simple. And contemporary will tend to take a little bit from here, a little bit from there. You see a lot more brass, shiny stuff also in that. So contemporary range of styles which are popular now over the last 50 years. Simple lines again, shape, form with monochromatic colors again used. And you know, sometimes you'll find very interesting color on a single wall, you know, or even a rug or piece of art. And again, clean straight lines, of course, smooth surfaces, light colored woods, not necessarily the blunt colored woods, but lighter colored woods. Teak also reflects here. Frosted glass, stainless steel, nickel, chrome, and you'll find pattern comes in a contemporary style, which doesn't happen in modern interiors. But contemporary will come through very subtly in something like a throw pillow or a rug or something similar on those lines. Let's look at this picture. Contemporary chalet. What's the mood board for what's been entitled like this? Is a contemporary chalet or a contemporary little cottage that you've got. Very distinct mood to it while it's following, you know, it's falling into the contemporary space. But as you can see from the screen in front of you, there are a lot of woods, clean lines, simple. But it's definitely got a warm feel to it and a less modern feel to it than the modern style has. And then here's another example. This one is classified as classic contemporary style. Simple, clean lines, not a lot of pattern. Frosted glass, stainless steel, again, fluid, this kind of stuff. You see a little bit of the brass coming in again. See that little gold mosaic pattern. So contemporary tends to have, and nowadays when we design a lot more contemporary styles, we in India, and we, at least in Bombay, we're introducing a lot more of all these metal elements. So brass patti, what you put in all the time, you've seen that, and that's properly contemporary styles. Modern will, in fact, will not have. So you'll have nickel, you'll have matte black maybe, which will overlap there, but you'll have all those brass things and this shiny thing happening in our contemporary space. And let's have some real life examples. Modern contemporary interior spaces tend to feel a little bit warmer, identify different styles. For example, the picture on the right-hand side of the screen in front of you, these chairs are actually considered art deco, but they've been incorporated very cleverly into this contemporary space. Look at them both and you'll see that on that, that's happening. And finally, this space, which is considered contemporary, pure contemporary. Simple lines, a little bit of padding, which you see on those throw pillows. Again, my favorite cushions, which are not on the edge. It's monochromatic, and it tends to be very calm, soothing, and warm. This is more of what you're going to do. And for our last thought process, which we want to do today, let's do eclectic. Now, eclectic, it's a personal favorite again, because it's actually a representation of who we are as human beings. We are influenced by geography. We are influenced by the people, food we eat, places we travel. So eclectic brings all these things together. Brings a little bit of here, a little bit of there. Not a big khichdi, don't make a khichdi out of it, but something on those lines of being stylishly eclectic. So, and of course, it's a very popular word that we keep on throwing around, like your eclectic style, you know, but it comprises quite a bit of diverse elements to it. It's a mixture of textures, lines, periods, styles, trends, colors. Fine line being between a beautifully eclectic room and a room that is merely haphazard and chaotic without any unifying theme or a motive or something put together. So eclectic is popular in both interiors and fashion, and it reflects that carefree lifestyle with very few rules. You want to be out of the box. You don't want to be put into this. I am this kind of person, and this eclectic style is actually what I feel a lot of the youth and the younger people will want to do that, because it means that you don't follow any particular rules. Break the rules, except to follow your own heart's desire. Do what you love, do that. So it may include vintage furniture, light fixtures. It could, anything that's inspired from there, globally inspired textures, rugs, displays of collections, whatever you like. You've gone and traveled somewhere, you've gone on a road trip, you've got to see some temples, you picked up something, put that together, items found in a wide variety of sources all around the world. It's very experimental, casual, but purposely casual. Don't do random casual. And looks thrown together, but purposefully being the operative word here in that center. Purposefully casual. It's a selection of styles, a selection of what appeals from other styles. And it's a collection of looks gathered from different places and put together. Historically, it's been used using brighter colors, like you say, that red, purple, and looks from different places. But red and purple can be difficult to put in sometimes in the interiors as, you know, vibrant too much to put that. But try to putting it together with neutral colors and you'll find items used in an unexpected way. For example, a rug in the bathroom instead of it, or you could put like if we have chor bazaar here, I'm not sure what you guys could have there, but something like that, and pick up a piece from an item from there, like a little table, and then put your basin on that, creating a powder toilet, which is different, an old vintage piece, and then put a very modern bowl on it, or a glass bowl on it, or stone bowl, something trendy about it, and putting 2 or 3 things together. So it's a collection of looks. So let's have some examples of some eclectic style. So if you see this, it's a mood board, residential, and if you follow, you'll see different styles. For example, a little bit of industrial, a little bit of classical, style of the cultural sofa that you see. There's again a little bit of industrial happening. Art Deco, if you see the glass shiny surface and its geometric shape. A little bit more here with the dark wood, and a little bit of French also. So you can see a lot of different styles that are going on together. But you put these together in a room and it's all going to come together very classily. So, and a different kind of thing also, you see that this is a little bit more modern, a little bit of modernist era here, but it's not modern, it's modernist. And this could be considered Art Deco because of its geometric pattern, but the stools have a little bit of an Asian feel to it, a little bit of an industrial, but it's all brought together as a style that works. It comes from a lot of different places. How you put it together, and like I always say, you guys are the boss of your spaces. You are going to design. You are going to tell your client and drive. You are the driver of this whole thing. Drive them to the right place and show them how you can create a space, either whether it's for yourself, for your client, but create a space that has something within it, something a little bit more than just putting together with very itemized things. Very modern kiya, to just go and buy it out from a shop. And again, this is one of our favorite examples of showing eclectic styles. Very warm, cozy room together. It's put together, but when you start focusing on the details and the different styles that appear in it, you will see how styles have been brought together. So look at the rug, geometric pattern, Art Deco again, and have a look at the use of the black. Here, you'll see it all over the room. You'll see it in the chair, the wall at the back, the little patty in the front, a lot more industrial or modern. And look at that hanging pendant over the bed, curvy line in the waist. So maybe you think that that's a little bit of Victorian, but look at all the furniture. It could feel that this room is very cluttered and somebody's just put things together, but each item has been there, thought about. So there's a little bit of Asian, a little bit of industrial, all of that's been brought together, and it's very classily put, very stylishly put. And the reason that it works is that whoever designed this interior space is that they used your principles and elements. So I'm sure you've already done that, your design principles and elements of design. They've used that to bring this room together, to make this room work. So eclectic interiors can be a favorite because they're so interesting and they bring a lot of personality. So this is the culmination of all the styles. So your personal style, your client style, the part of what we did in the first part of this whole 1 hour part talking, and this how it's being brought together, whether it's modern, Art Deco, and there are so many more styles. Of course, this is just a very, very small snippet today, but there's so many more individualistic styles, but bringing all together is very important, how you reflect the personality. And last slide that we have here, So if you look at these last two images, you'll see there's an African and like a, like a little bit of that animal print rung, little bit of Africa. It's got a tulip table, considered Art Deco again, little bit of glam, chandelier, and look at the image on the right. There's a big mix of styles here. There's Art Deco, there's industrial, and a little bit of bohemian chic to little bohemian vibe going on it. So eclectic interiors are warm ones, they're rich, they're interesting, loaded with personality. But the important thing to remember is always the word to be purposeful. Don't just throw in everything. Don't just go to Chor Bazaar and pick up everything and thup, thup, thup. But really think about what you're putting in this space, how you're making the things work together and working for the client. Is it really reflecting the client, or is it reflecting you in that space? One of the key tips to do this and to make it look purposeful, and especially for eclectic space, is to always work on your design principles and elements. So if you're interested, you can really figure that out again, go back to your topic and look at that and try and bring that into do that. And that's one of the greatest tools you'll ever have in your box from your thing, when your elements of principles and designs. So with that, we kind of wrap up onto this. Chaitali, any questions
Yes.
I can field, or can I go back to any of the slides or anything? Or let's take questions from everybody.
Yes.
I hope you all liked it first.
Yes. Very good information about all the different styles and how to approach them, how to blend them, how one is to create the eclectic style. So it was really very, very informative.
Yeah, good.
Now I will like to ask students. Many of the students are working on different interior styles.
Okay, good.
Mahek, do you have any questions? You are working on interior styles only.
No, ma'am, my doubts are all clear.
Okay. So you must have understood how to figure it out, the different characters of these styles.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yes.
I think they're all pretty.
Savita ma'am, you have raised the hand.
Ma'am, no questions.
Okay.
And I
Yes.
would like to ask something.
Yes. You can ask.
This one, like nowadays, the clients demand like very different things. Like they are own interior designers. Like they'll come bring with some 50 ideas. I want this, and we put such kind of information like we have this style, we go with this style. So they are not very much intaking about these styles. So how do we approach these kind of clients?
So that's when we mentioned find out from day one what they like. So if you are on the same page as what they are, so you will understand what kind of whether they are traditional thinking clients or whether they are. So loads of clients will go to Pinterest and pick up 1,000 images and come to you and say, okay, I want my house to look like that. And sometimes out of those 1,000 images, not even one gels. All are different and all are random. And it's very difficult. Then you catch your head and say, okay, how the hell am I going to blend all these and try to come to a style? So that's when you'll have to read off how they've been living before, where they are currently, how their own styles are reflecting in their clothes, what kind of people they are. So go beyond what they are showing you and try to blend it. And very often people now I've seen is that they do not like to be told to do traditional styles or try to bring in Victorian styles or try to bring in Art Deco and all. 90% of your clients want modern or contemporary. These are the words that are thrown to all you students. Anyway, when all of us in practice, we've been practicing for so long, that's what's thrown to you. They don't understand, clients don't understand it. We've gone through years of training, we've gone through years of understanding what this is about. So you guide them very subtly. Pick up a few, don't tell them, okay, whatever they've shown you is all trash. Pick it up from there, but try to pick up the most dominant ones, the most strong ones out of that, creating your thing, giving names to it, using English as a big words, the big fundas of words to use that. They get impressed with that because sometimes they don't understand those words also. So using that and trying to bring in, but read a few, but create your own mood board and guide them softly into this. By saying, okay, we are doing Art Deco, Victorian, they will just simply say no only on the whole thing. But you just put them through a small way and a little pathway to them and make them reach your vision for it. Because after doing all this homework, you will have your proper vision. It's just how you will take them along this path to get them to that vision. I hope that helped.
Yes, ma'am. And now on the other hand, when we start with designing of such kind of clients, like we have thousands of images, like you said, they'll be giving us. So when we bring things together, so like what should be the first thought when we are blending? Like even we like two different things for the same space. Like for a bed, we like something very modern, but at the same time, when we want an accent wall, so we'll go a bit traditional, a bit Victorian. So how do we blend that kind of ideas on our side, like before dealing with the client, when we are dealing with ourselves, that we want these two things to blend. So what would be the process?
So your internal dilemma is there first, that you have to, as a designer, be very strong about where you want the thing to go before you present it to the client. So internally you need to be clear, and it always helps that if you have somebody with you, of course, if you have a partner or you have somebody with you, of course, thrash out your ideas. But instinctively what goes with you now when you're reading a person and when you're psychologically analyzing your client on the whole thing, there is certain things that you will have instinctively picked up. So don't get nervous about it. There is so much of this. This is not a medical science, right? It's not ke do or die yahan pe. There are 1,000 paths out open for you, but go with your gut instinct. And the first instinct, your gut instinct that you have now is very initially is always your correct one. So when we second guess and third guess ourselves and we say ki ye bhi ho sakta tha, ye bhi ho sakta tha na, that's when we sometimes go on the wrong path, because you've got so much, acha usne ye bola, she is giving me this picture, maybe this also. Try to go back to your first initial thoughts always and lead from there. So your first initial things, your gut instincts, because you've been trained, because you've had experience, your gut instinct will lead you more into that than this. Of course, the client will say, "Ki mere ko to yahi pasand tha." Try and guiding them through that and go back to your first initial. I try to do that and get a second opinion. Always get a second opinion of somebody who you feel is unbiased. But I think going back to that first initial thoughts and what you will feel first about that space, walking to that space, that vibe, that should guide you more than anything.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Yes, anyone else?
Yes, ma'am. I wanted to ask something.
Yes.
Ma'am, as you said, like we have talked about the styles. So I wanted to ask that do culture also reflect, like is there a relation between culture and style, or like
100%.
only style is important? How do we inculcate culture and style?
So this is a very Indianized thought, or rather Asian thought of what we do about this, because if you see a reflective of homes which are there, their local culture, and in the US and the Western thing, their local culture isn't as deep, and they don't have any kind of historical things to or traditions to background or to fall upon. So following all these more styles are more Western styles. When we do styles, we have to also study Indian styles very much on that. And that's when culture is blended into that, more in the form of tradition. So it could be whether we are bringing in, if it's, where the background of the family is, whether you're doing a jhula, like if you're doing you always want, a lot of my clients at least here like a jhula, but how are you bringing that jhula into a contemporary context, and how are you going to blend that? And if you want to do a modern home for them, but bring in a jhula in them, in not a contemporary style. So bringing cultural elements in that, bringing our mandir is a very important part of our culture, which would never be in any of these styles. So we cannot classify that as any particular style, but when you do your home, you will have to find the fusion part. Again, put it on that spectrum and put it on that style and bring in into that. You can do a very modern mandir, you can do an art deco mandir, you can do a contemporary mandir, you can do any kind of that. But bringing that is a thought process which would never have been done in any of these Western styles. So bring that in. Your urulis, I love doing an uruli anywhere, putting that in. You have your chests, any kind of old-fashioned patties or chests that you've done, and making that as part of it. So a bit of those fusion elements will translate into becoming personal spaces, and the personality of your client will definitely come out. Even art is a ball game that can change your entire space. So cultural referencing to doing that, very, very different to doing. You can bring that into each style, of course, individually, but do it in a fusion format.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome.
Yes, anyone else?
Ma'am, what if if we have a client who has who has to impose Western and Indian culture both. With that, we have to as we talked about the apparel thing, clothing part. Like if we have to analyze that, and inculcate that as well, then how we'll combine all of these together into our designs.
So again, what is the dominant feature? And in anything that you do in India, you are going to overlap any kind of space that is traditional into that. You're going to have to do that, because whether it's via art, whether it's sculpture, whether it is any small piece, this was left over, my dadi gave it, so I'm going to bring it into this house. It will come in, so it will translate into that. So you will never be able to do only one theme, right? So you can never just do it to like one concept or one kind of style into that. And how you fuse the elements together, you will have to look at each piece being designed individually. Look at each, break it down. So don't try and say, okay, yes, I'm doing a fusion home. You can do your main dabba or your main shell in one style, then introduce traditional elements in various parts to it. So bringing in a certain item to it, certain table to it, a certain jali carving or something like that, even in a band, whether you put it as a band on your curtain, which could be an embroidery band, which could be, say, some kind of work on it, which is traditional Indian craft, but break it down. So make your shell in one theme, and then put these little scattered elements within that, but design each one. So don't just go and buy them. Don't just leave them as an individual. Give it a good thought as to how you're going to fuse each element in it. So that's how I would go about saying that somebody wants an art deco or a contemporary home. So make my shell, so my walls, my entire doorways, my passages, the whole room, your wardrobes, all of that would reflect a contemporary theme. But I would bring that in, so maybe an handle could change to bring that a little bit of an element in it. Again, it's designed. So my coffee table could be designed to bring in the traditional element. Break it into smaller pieces. So don't try and say, okay, my 3 walls are contemporary, but my 1 wall is Indian. So that will create your khichdi then. So I break it up into 2 or 3 things like this.
Okay, ma'am. Last one more question I have.
Sure.
Talk about sustainable or biophilic, like the topics like these. The one thing everyone gets in mind is this can be inculcated only in architectural part. Why can't we inculcate this in interiors, and how, if yes, and how would we inculcate this in the interiors part, be it residential or commercial?
So as an architect, Shagun, I had actually thought the same thing. So for years, I thought about this, that this is when you do green architecture, green architecture. But I actually went through a course in South Africa because I designed Africa's first fully sustainable green resort. And I did the interiors for that. So I actually had to undergo training to realize this. So it is a common misconception. But once you realize that from the products, individual products, to how green you can completely make your interior space. And we did it as a commercial venture, right? So we had to look at budgets also. So everything can be eco-friendly. Eco-friendly is a different word, sustainable is a different thing. So, but you can blend the two and you can do any form of interior, residential, your offices, any hospitality, any of them can be done. And that's a very interesting thing to do, and something that's very relevant, and it should really be taught, I think, to your students also, that you bring that in subtly. And of course, it's very important to put that into your client's head also.
And what can be the key features, like if we talk about the Art Deco or modernism contemporary styles, we have some of the characteristics that we see when we think about that in the interiors. So what can be the key characteristics for sustainable or eco-friendly interiors?
So whether we're looking at doing, say, a simple thing like doing your green wall. Now, a simple thing like a green wall, everybody talks about green wall, but a green wall in an Indian context is very difficult to maintain, very difficult. So I've tried that on balconies, I've tried that, but you can't water everything. The irrigation gets spoiled. Everything, it's a little very difficult to maintain. So to bring it into smaller residential things is, of course, an awakening. You have to, tell your client, talk to them. But a very simple thing like how your RO, water, if you have, everybody has an aqua guard or an RO in their house. You know that the RO throws away a lot of water. Simple thing like collect your RO water in a different case. Simple thing, use it to water your plants, use it for anything, all of that. Don't throw. That's a very simple thing, and you incorporate that into your design when you're doing your kitchen. Just connect the waste of your RO into a separate tanki, separate dabba, just a small thing, chota tanki, and use that water again that you're saying. So it's water saved, any droplet saved is there. Of course, use your flush valves, your taps, all of them have these facilities. Simple website like Jaguar, when you're buying your things, has everything with a little green symbol on it written ki kitna water saving hai. Just doing that, your client will appreciate that on the whole thing. And this thing, rather than putting up overhead loft mein tanki dala, usse better hai ki you try all these kind of things to bring it in. Half flush, full flush is necessary. Avoid bathtubs, however the whole thing is there. Whatever they want to do that, and however rich your client is, explain to them how much of water loss is there. Shower heads, all of your fittings now, all the companies, like I said, even if an Indian company can, like Jaguar is so aware of everything from everything, all your international brands have everything in water saving systems. So water saving is one. Materials, your products that you buy, so a lot of them, what fabrics that you're using within them, your textiles, hemp, jute, what content that is being used in each fabric. It's everything, your which is our fabrics, all of them that you buy, your all of your books at the back, everyone has a specification code written on that. So what is washable, what is not, all the blends. Just read about that and try to incorporate these things into your realities. It's a very relevant topic. Please bring it to your students. Do a couple of them, and it's very interesting to do green thing in interior. Maybe 2 or 3 lectures are more than enough to cover it, and hope that they will incorporate it from day one.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Most welcome.
Yes, we do have green interiors, but the thing is, it is not incorporated into the syllabus, and the knowledge or the expertise, you are doing work on the green interiors. So I mean, we need the professionals to come and share their knowledge to the students.
Yes.
So that knowledge and their documentation is missing.
slowly, I think the awareness will come across, and then people might take it as an elective. People might take it, also, students will realize the whole thing is there. Maybe pandemic will change things for all everybody's thinking process, because everybody's stuck at home. So
Yes.
we're all.
Yes, I think students, any more questions? Okay. So now I would like to thank once again Architect Jahanara Poonawala for a wonderful session on interior styling, and even on the sustainable green interiors queries. So really, it's wonderful to have you, and I will like to again invite you to showcase your projects about the hotel and the resorts. Also, our many of the students are working on hotels and resort projects.
I'll do that one day. Yes, we should do that.
Yes, yes, and I would like to thank all the student bodies too. So.